Oh boy. Oh boy, that was a close one, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, can everybody hear me? Can everybody? I just want to make sure everybody can hear me, right? All right, I'm just gonna go with it anyway. Welcome back to the Whitty Review Show. I am your host, Steve Whitmer, aka Slick Whitty, aka Baron of Banville, aka probably the most feared man in the GOP, at least in Marion County, anyway. So hopefully you're all having a great Tuesday night. We got a pretty good show for you. We're going to go a little bit more scorched earth. That seems to be the flavor of the year so far, at least from Marion County. First things first, if you haven't already, make sure that you're following INDY Reporter. We're doing amazing things. We're getting a lot of information from people. We got prosecutor's office. We got IMPD. We got people in the AG's office. We're getting it all. We're getting a lot of information. Some things we can spill, other things that we can't. We're making sure that everybody's identity is safe. Just to let you know. Also, make sure that you're following Whitty Reviews. What are you doing if you're not? I just put out a video yesterday about a Metropolitan and Economic Development Committee. They're just approved some more money to have City Hall rebuilt, and just making sure that they have more bums that are able to walk around and poop on the street. See, I'm already working on my language. We're on a new day. We're in a new day. Also, make sure you're following Beyond Formal, Brandon Shane. The protest that happened like a week or so ago, he was interviewing a bunch of people. He got some good stuff. That's for sure. Very good. I'm hoping that more protests happen, especially in Indianapolis, because Brandon's really good at interviewing people. He's very well done. All right, so first things first, we got to talk about our old pal Abu. That's right. Soft-handed Shabazz is back in the news today. I found this one today, that he had this rape skunk. You guys remember Pepe Le Pew? I mean, now it's his background. That skunk rapes other skunks. Did you not know that? It's kind of creepy if you ask me. I'm just saying. Not exactly the thing that I'd be posting as my background. But this was probably the funniest part. No matter how much of an enlightened, well-read, and well-educated urban sophisticate one might be, every once in a while you have to remind some folks that you grew up on the south side of Chicago and give them a taste of what that is like. And my response was, you are soft. Take heart medication, overweight, drink, and smoke. Didn't you go to the hospital because you walked too much? If you guys forgot, during the mayor's race in 2023, he was hospitalized for some heart problems. And I found the IBJ article, obviously, and he talked about, it's like, oh, yeah, it's a family genetic thing. I'm going to have to take heart medication for the rest of my life. Well, here's a thought, too. Maybe you don't drink, maybe you don't smoke, maybe you don't be an overweight little bitch. I'm just saying, I'm throwing that out there, okay? Which is so funny coming from Abu, because he loves to sue people. And I don't know about you, but I'm from the Chicago area, all right? Lansing, Calumet City, worked in Gary for a couple of years, worked in Matson for a couple of years. I spent like the first 10 years of my life in downtown Chicago every weekend. I know what it's like to be in Chicago. This guy has no idea, because if you want to be Chicago or do something Chicago, it has nothing to do with doing a lawsuit. Either you're pulling out a gun or you're fighting somebody. And I know Abu is not going to do either of them. All right, so Jimmy Bennett in the house. Let's go. Brandon Shane in the house. Beyond Formal. Let's go. Chicago, I know. I'm sure all of you probably figured that out, right? Like with my does and my slang. When I first moved on to Indianapolis, I was talking to people. I'm like, you're not from around here, are you? I go, nope, I'm from Chicago. And he goes, yeah, makes sense. Of course, there was like an English guy that I knew, and he kind of had like this like southern twang English thing from Britain. All right, so what are we actually talking about tonight? Two things. First off, I need to spit this out. Bad girlfriend. So, nobody likes a spitter. Just saying. So, first things first that happened that I wanted to talk about was the Senate Joint Resolution 21. What does this do? Applies to Congress for a convention for proposing amendments under Article 5 of the Constitution of the USA to provide limits to the number of terms that an individual may serve in the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. This is basically term limits. You're not wrong, Jimmy. You know what? The 90s Chicago was actually less scary than it is 2025 Chicago. I don't recommend it. So this is term limits, and went through the Senate, and then it went through the committee the other day, and I think only 2 people said no to it. One was J.D. Prescott, and the other one was Chambers. I forgot what her name is. And I will tell you what, my opinion is on term limits is that it's not going to make things better. I'm not exactly against term limits, but I'm not for them because all you're going to be doing is replacing long-term trash with short-term trash, and they're just the machine will always be in control, like what we're going to talk about tonight too with the Indianapolis GOP about who's actually running the show, because it's not the people that you think they are. It's not the elected people. And like I said though, I'm not against it. I'm just not for it. J.D. Prescott made a good point. I forgot what it was. If you go to Indy Reporter, there's a video on it. But Mike Young made a really good point. It's like, if you believe in term limits, you will self-term limit then. But the problem is most people will not do that. Yeah, we got plenty of time right now. So these were so it went through Senate at first, and then it got moved over to the House because that's how it works. It goes whoop, and basically every Democrat voted no against it for no term limits and term limits, and their reason was, Jimmy, the reason why they said is like, well, because you know what, it doesn't say just for term limits; it's changing everything. Term limits are called elections. Yeah, that is right. Oh, I didn't have the comments. Okay, now I can see it. All right. Hey, Spiro's in the house too. All right. I had it on private chat, not comments. That's my bad. In StreamYard. I'm like, why is nobody commenting? This is so weird. So their reason was like, well, it just doesn't stop there. It goes even farther than that. You could do something with health reproduction rights, aka abortion. You could eliminate gay marriage, all these other things that they're talking about, but really it's just about term limits. Do you really think the modern Republican is going to get rid of gay marriage? No. Lawyers love it. I mean, lesbians have like the highest divorce rates, like 75% or something. There's no way, especially like as many lawyers as they are, that is just a freebie to them. So House Bill 1006, this is kind of my favorite one. This is basically the Ryan Mears bill. It went through House, and now it's going through the Senate. It went through criminal, I think it was criminal and code. Yeah. And then it has to go through appropriations, and here's the reason why. The bill has the following provisions. It establishes the Special Prosecutors Unit, the Prosecutor Review Board, and the Public Prosecution Fund. And that's wise, because this thing will change money. And it has to go through the Appropriations Committee. Very boring stuff. I'm not going to bore you with it. But I think it's going to be happening. It's not happening this week. I think it's going through appropriations next week, because they already set the schedule for this week, if I remember right. I just looked at it earlier. But the Prosecutor Review Board is very interesting. I think it's going through IPAC, which is the Indiana Prosecutor Agency Council. We're going to talk about that a little bit on the second half of the show, because it is important. But basically what it does is that if you're the public defenders, and I think the prosecutor's office will get more money as long as they do their job. That's the most important part. This is why I call it the Ryan Mears job, because if you're not doing your job, you're not getting extra money. So all you have to do is your job. And it was funny when we're going to talk about, I don't know if I still have it up. Do I have it up? No. I looked it up through Chat GPT about this bill, and it said like it knew exactly what why this bill was being applied, because it says like, like prosecutors that don't enforce the law against marijuana. Like, oh my God, even Chat GPT knew. This was on the Saturday show. We were having some fun with it. All right, so Why is this starting to become a big deal right now? Well, look at the plea agreement offered for a 3-year sentence for an Indy woman, separate and sentence for Indy woman and separate fatal car crashes. She reached a plea agreement that would see her sentenced to 3 years in prison for reckless homicide of 2 individuals and separate crashes. And she pleaded guilty. I believe it killed this dude. Okay, so the second fatal crash occurred on June 9th when Anderson collided with 28-year-old Kiana Burns. Investigation revealed that Anderson was driving at nearly 69 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour speed limit zone when she struck a vehicle, causing a pileup on Keystone Avenue. She had been on medication for allergies and seizures, stating, "Honestly, I blacked out because I don't remember what happened. I didn't know that it was 2 crashes. I thought it was 1. But this one was just the other day. Remember that guy that got drunk over on Mass Ave? He's from Texas, and he had a hit and run on Mass Ave. They actually put these really ugly barriers up, too, in front of some seafood joint. And then he was dropping off the car, and he almost made it back home. But the people from the car rental place called up the police and like, hey, something's up. Well, he got 5.5 years for killing somebody while he was drunk. I checked it out. It was a plea deal. But that's just, it's just stuff like this. And you can say, oh, well, there's a huge backlog. It takes all these man hours to do it and everything. It's like, this is your job, though. 5.5 years, it'll probably be cut down to half on that because for good behavior. And we know what that's been like. And I have an example or two. But this was interesting, too. State Representative Andrew Ireland posted this. Misdemeanor charges filed in Marion County since Ryan Mears took office have dropped more than 60%. Arrests have not. So what is he pointing it out at? Hey, crime sure hasn't gotten better, but we keep 61% drop in misdemeanor arrest, huh? Misdemeanor charges, but the arrests have not. So you get arrested, you get these things dismissed. So before the show started, I hopped on My Case, go to mycase.in.gov, and you can see all the felonies and the misdemeanors. So I'm like, you know what? We're not going to look at the felonies. We're going to look at the misdemeanors real quick. James Dykes, he got unlawful carrying of a handgun. Interesting. What happened with him? Dismissed. Right there. Unlawful carrying of a handgun. Dismissed. All right, let's check out the next misdemeanor. Angela Renee Holmes. Criminal trespassing. These are all decided too, by the way. Criminal trespassing, possession of paraphernalia, disorderly conduct. What happened with that one? Plea by agreement. Dismissed plea by agreement. So what happened? She already had 22 days in the clink. She was going to be a 1-year sentence or just under it. She got suspended for 338 days. So she basically just got probation. All of that, and she already had 22 days in the clink in the booty house, and all she did was get probation. Marlon Stewart. Theft. What happened with that? Plea by agreement. He had 2 weeks in the clink, and that was it. Time served. No probation. No probation. So what? A lot of times, if you guys come onto my Saturday show, you will see that I go onto My Case, and I will go and check out all these. I'll check out mostly felonies, not misdemeanors. And then if they have a rare enough name, like a Marlon Stewart, we'll go and check their log. So I went on My Case, and I checked out everything that he's been arrested for or charged for. Misdemeanor, felony, 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 felony. Some in Marion County, a lot in Johnson County, which is crazy. Felony 6, the lowest one in Johnson County for possession of cocaine, possession of paraphernalia. What happened with this guy? Plea by agreement. He got jail credit of 30 days, jail credit of 148 days. Defendant sentenced to 296 days, executed with, so 100. So nothing really happened. This is my other point, too. Johnson County, this is my theory. Johnson County is getting overloaded with some of these these assholes that are coming through there because of Marion County, because they are thinking that they could get away with the same thing that they do in Marion County as they do in Johnson County, and it's they're not that wrong, honestly. Let's look at 2021 in Johnson County: theft, possession of the Mary Jane. Let's see, dismissed. You got 2 plea by agreements. You got a term for 1 year on all counts. I don't really know what happened. I think he just served a year in jail because this was 22. Yeah, I think he did, because then he comes right back in 23. But then he has like a pending one, another one in felony. But you can even see how they're filed. And the fact that this guy had so many filed and had so many problems with theft, by the way, he is a habitual line stepper, a habitual thief, and yet nothing happened. Should just tell you everything that you need to know about how garbage Mears is, about how garbage the courts are. Who handled this thing? Oh, Jose Salinas. Him and fucking Jennifer Prince Harrison are like the worst. Mark Stoner was up there, but he retired. But let's talk about this one too. Man arrested after filming a rape of a woman and the 12-year-old. So I don't have the inmate info. For some reason, inmate info will not. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, hold on. I just looked it up today. Boom, there it is. All right, so look at this. These are all the rape descriptions and the offense date, the rapes, the child molesting, criminal confinement, sexual battery, child molestation. So he raped a woman and a 12-year-old and filmed it. Now, look, last I checked, there's a jury happening on the 24th, I think. But I guarantee you he'll probably get a plea deal. If not, I will be very surprised. What is that? Oh, okay. All right, so moving on to the other bills too. Yeah, we're still good on time. I was looking into the energy stuff today because this is going to be a problem, especially with HB 1007. And what does this one do? This is the SMR bill. And basically what it will do is that if it'll give 80% of the project costs reasonably allocable to the large load customer, regardless of whether the large load customer ultimately takes service in any anticipated amount. So basically, the energy people, they can get everything all planned out, getting everything ready to do, and the IRUC, the regulatory commission of Indiana, can be like, it's too much, it's not going to work out, and all the money that the energy company spent, they can recoup from the taxpayer, which is bananas to me, honestly, because anybody else that has a business, they're putting all their chips into it, and they're not relying on the taxpayers to take care of it. And by the way, SMRs, small modular reactors, it's an unproven thing right now. NuScale is the only one, as far as I know, that has actually very close to building one. But it's not any kind of mass manufacturing. It's still 7 to 10 years away. The only people that have one is Russia and China. But China's still building a bunch of coal plants. All right, so I decided to look it up because there's a data center in LaPorte, and I want to see what is the actual benefit? Because Ed Soliday keeps talking about all this revenue that we're going to get, all this money that we're going to get. Well, you're giving a 50-year tax incentive to these data centers for, what was it? Servers, storage, networking, hardware. I think they had a property tax abatement too for 5 or 10 years. Might have even been longer. Yeah, they got an exemption from Indiana sales tax, construction materials, electricity used for operation. So basically, these data centers are being built, and just for Amazon, for Google, for Microsoft, they're getting all these tax incentives, but there's not enough energy to power them. That's the whole point of these SMRs. And who's going to have to fund all this technology? The taxpayer. That's where I have a problem with it. If you guys want to do this stuff, you go and build your own SMR. It should not be on the taxpayer. But that's what this bill does. All right. And this was kind of funny, just to run through this real quick, speed run. There's a Senate bill to make natural gas and propane as a clean energy resource. And one of the lobbyists came by and they said, well, yeah, we really want this to be a clean energy resource so we can get all the subsidies, the grants, all these doors that open it up if you're a clean energy. And obviously, there are people that are like, yeah, it's not a clean energy, though. Well, who are we kidding? It's like it still emissions, it still does emissions, it still does all this. And it's like I knew, and I even talked about it at the beginning of the session. It's like we know what this is for. This is so they can get more subsidies and more tax money. All right. And then I am keeping an eye on all the bills too. There are a couple of ones that I'm kind of interested, especially tomorrow. Voter registration, the school board matters. Prescott had a bill too that would make where you have to run for school board the same as any elected office. That includes a primary too. Not much going on in the Senate, but do I have it here? Oh, I am keeping an eye on the sale of low THC products to persons less than 21 because I know this is going to be the blueprint to try and legalize weed in Indiana, which is going to be a really bad idea because you're going to see Indiana turn into a blue state within 5 years after that. Oh, yeah, this was something else, too, about the THC thing. So do you guys remember that whole mass overdose event that happened in downtown on Friday? Well, it turns out, from what I can tell, it was when they were smoking synthetic weed and they sprayed bug spray on it, too. So I don't want to hear anybody talk about it. It's like, well, if it was real weed, it wouldn't be a problem. Yeah, it'd still be a problem because it's almost guaranteed they would still use bug spray. But here's the one that I'm looking forward to the most. Next Tuesday is an appropriations for the Indiana Secretary of State. Why? Because I know there will be Democrats asking about Diego Morales because Ed Delaney totally bitched him out about how much his family was getting paid that were working there, what he was doing with these spot bonuses, all this stuff. And I cannot wait. I will be clipping it. Fucking Whitty Clipperson. For sure. I cannot wait. I think there was one more. I thought there was. Yeah, well, there's just the school board one. But make sure you follow INDY Reporter on Twitter because I'm the main guy that does all the clipping on there because I'm pretty damn good at it. I'm just saying. I'm pretty all right. I think that was it, though. Yeah. Okay. First off, I hope someone primaries Jake Teshka. This guy is an establishment rat without a question to it. He wanted Julie McGuire to be. He already bent the knee to the establishment. He's 100% establishment, 100% GDP, bro. He doesn't care about communities getting totally wrecked. These are the types of conservatives, which I've said for a long time, that all they care about. All right, fine. These are the conservatives that just care about the economics. They will replace American workers with these H-1B workers. These people that are out of country, they'll just fly right in. Braun did the same thing too. He hired H-1B workers, and it looked like that you could have. I don't remember. When I looked it up, it did not look like that complicated of a job. Why did you hire an H-1B worker? But no one's going to ask him that, obviously. But anyway, so Teshka's leading. He was the same guy that wanted to repeal the death penalty. So him, I forgot the other people. Chris Judy, maybe, and there are a couple other people. They're on my shit list right now. All right, so So this is what I wanted to talk about. This is why I wanted to spend the most time on it. The people that endorsed Natalie Goodwin. Now, John, I hope that you talk about what happened in Lawrence today, because this is so much of a big deal that people don't understand. Everything that I said was going to happen is happening already. I did not expect it to happen this fast. Natalie Goodwin is already dropping the ball. She's already not doing anything. And I think she is totally compromised. I mean, I think she's under control. And I don't think it's from Elsner. So Jim Banks, obviously, she endorsed Natalie Goodwin because John had John Rust on his show. Also, John went on John Rust's show. They went back and forth. All right. And Carrasco's establishment, Freeman. I don't know what's up with Freeman, to be honest with you, because he seems like a pretty level-headed guy. Like he gets it. So I'm sure Freeman had some favors or, hey, I just want to get this done. Kyle Walker, we'll talk about him. McGuire's establishment. Paul N.A. and Brian Mowry obviously are huge establishment. But I wanted to look at the township chairs. And I'm going to put them in importance of order, too. Like, who are the dingbats, basically, that will just lick the boots no matter how much poo-poo you have on them. And then we want to look at the final boss. All right, so this was an email from Natalie Goodwin the other day. When was it? March 7th. And she goes, hey, thanks for everybody that participated in last week's organization. And then she said, what are we reading right now? Oh, Hawksets in hot water again? OMG. Lake Wallace. They spent years dealing with a persistent 3 to 4 inch water buildup, which have doubled Lake Wallace. To no one's surprise, Joe Hawks and his Democrat allies have turned a blind eye. Families first. Governor Mike Braun signed an executive order this week to expand paid parental leave for state employees. Awesome! Hey, guess what? Now our already taxpayer-funded employees get to get more free time off. Awesome! And listen, I get the whole idea of the dads and the moms getting paternity leave, but not on the taxpayer's dime. Okay, this was a big L, I think, in the Braun campaign, because now you're saying that. He's stimming with the what? Because now you're saying, hey, the only people that matter are the people that work in the government. And I have said this for a long time. I'm fine with women getting paternity leave because they just had a giant watermelon come out of them. But the guys, I'm not a big fan of it. Like, I get it. Hey, I get it. I 100% get it. Especially if it's your first kid and, hey, you want to be around your first and your prize as much as you can, which I completely get it. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, my roads are still fucked up. Okay? Can we just work out of everything? Can we just focus on the roads? That's all I want. Go get your diversity apartments. I don't care. Go have your rainbow flags over there. I don't care. Just fix the roads. That's all I want. All right. So you guys are already pissing me off, all right? Already. It's not even 8:30. I'm already getting wound up. So the first one's first. Remember Whitney Peterson, a.k.a. Scott Pressler? I looked a little bit more into her. And I looked into the IPAC. And the Mitch Daniels Leadership Foundation. Hey, you know who's watching right now with some Mitch Daniels stuff, right? Am I right? So I looked in the IPAC a little bit. Oh, crap. Is this the wrong one? Crap. All right, hold on 1 second. I got to log back in. But you guys can't see my secret password. I'm just saying you can't have it. It's Bootylicious69. Oopsie. Oh, crap. That's not what. Crap. 1 second. I have like 2 different ChatGPT ones. One of them's the naughty one, and one of them's not. All right, so I looked into what exactly the IPAC people do. And, who is the lobbyist for IPAC? The Indiana Prosecutor Attorneys Council. Whitney Peterson is a legislative liaison. And who was the woman today? Courtney Cummings or something? Wait a minute, that was Courtney Curtis. Close enough. It totally looks like a dude, by the way. So the liaison, advocacy and lobbying, policy analysis, communication and outreach, testifying, providing expertise, strategic planning. And IPAC apparently had liked this bill, but did not like that had to be accountability for these prosecutors. Everything else that they liked about it, but they just wanted the money. They didn't want the accountability. They just wanted the money. And let's see, and then I had GPT, AI explained HB 1006, and what did it do? Where was it? Yeah, Prosecutor Review Board forms a prosecutor review board to assess cases where elected prosecutors choose not to enforce certain laws, e.g., marijuana, the Mary Jane possession. That's right, the wacky tacky possession, the electric lettuce possession. This Jolly Rancher in my mouth is fucking up my speech. All right, so how does it affect Ryan Mears? The bill establishes a board to review cases where prosecutors decline to enforce specific laws. That's right, Ryan Mears. You're going to get a good old-fashioned spanking. Not from me, of course. Maybe from Courtney Curtis. Maybe from Whitney Peterson. But definitely from Cam Savage, because I know that you're friends with him. That's right, the same Cam Savage that was helping out Natalie Goodwin win her county chair race. And guess what? She didn't even want to show up for work today. All right, so who's number 2 on the list? Where are you? All right, so who's on the bottom of the barrel? Who's the best bootlicker? Well, that would be our old boy Scott Zarazy right there. Who never holds Wayne Township meetings. I mean, for sure. He just wants Wayne Township dead. And I remember hearing stories about how red Wayne Township used to be. They used to have two parties or 2 township things, probably one for the north, probably one for the south. The reddest township in all of Indiana. And what does it become today? A shithole. A 60-40 shithole. With a bunch of foreigners carrying beans on their bags off of 10th Street. And then who would be? I don't know anything about the Center Township person. I looked a little bit into Samantha DeWester. Didn't get too much, and we already know about Dave Taylor, the with the cuck picture too that I did last week. All right, so our old Matt Huckabee, he's next in line. So excited for Natalie Goodwin and the rest of our new INDY GOP officers. What an amazing team. And a huge thank you to my friend and, more importantly, Riley's godfather, Joe Elsner. So Joe Elsner is the godfather of his kid, which, if that tells you anything, that is 100% establishment. Kyle Walker is the 7th district chair, and Natalie is the vice for state party. Well, good thing that you told me that, because we're going to talk about, Kyle, where are their bodies, Walker, here in a second. Dude, it's just like it's a circle jerk. Like you, this is why I think they wanted Brad Chambers to win too. All right. Speaking of though, so we know that, and here's so fun too. Oh, Lawrence Township Republican Club Natalie Goodwin can even show up for her meeting. I hope John talks about it in the Mouthwash show. But here we go. So Matt Huckabee has a problem with the leadership in Lawrence, obviously. And I honestly thought Matt Huckabee was a real one. He was going after Deb Whitfield and all these problems that are happening in Lawrence. I'm like, okay, this guy gets it. He knows what's going on in Lawrence. But turns out he doesn't care. I think this is all fake. I think this is all BS. I think that he just wants people to lose in Marion County, mainly Republicans, as long as it's their people losing. And so this would be my other question for I don't know what he's talking about here. Did Matt Huckabee run for something? Sam DeWester is secretary. Is that? Oh, the state party. Oh, okay. Interesting. So she already knew she was establishment, but also like Drew Anderson got fat. Holy shit. But my whole point of pointing this out is Huckabee just wants his own people in charge, even though there are better people out there, which is disappointing. I think it took a long time. Oh, actually, I forgot even to point this out, too. So Mike Speedy was there at that Article 5 thing where they were going through committee with it, and he spoke out, and he mentioned something very important. He said, when I ran for Congress, it really changed my view on term limits. Well, yeah, losing will do that because you're like, I deserve that. I should have won that, not this guy. And there's a lot of open spots that have a lot of people that are in control that have a lot of money. And this was my point about the term limit thing. Like, you're still going to have the money in there. It's just it's going to get transferred over to somebody else. You think those elected officials are running the show? They're not. They're all controlled from their donors. It doesn't matter who it is. And you can always tell about who you're not allowed to talk bad about. Or whoever they're shilling for. Also, Matt Huckabee is the vice president of MO Strategies. Worked for Holcomb, worked for Mike Pence, worked for Aaron Bushin. I mean, total senior advisor for the Indiana Republican Party. Also, part of MO Strategies vice president. Marty Ops, Kyle Walker, executive vice president, who is also now the 7th district chair, I was told by the producer of Mouthwash, if I'm hearing that right. Rob Goad, and there's Matt Huckabee. Now, MO Strategies, the only reason why I remember Matt Huckabee was when Brad Chambers was running for governor, and this guy was a total liberal. I said if this guy won governor, Indiana will be blue by the next time, by 2028, because there's no way that he won't just turn this into another Illinois or California. This is like the peak GDP, bro. It doesn't matter how he makes money as long as he's making money. He also owed Indianapolis like a 20 million. I don't forgot what it was like a redonkulous number though. Yeah, Kyle Walker. But yeah, so he worked on the Brad Chambers team, and Kyle Humpher, who was the Speaker of the House, he had to step down to go help for Chambers. Humpher is also a partner of Taft Law, which is very funny because Taft Law gave Hogsett. No, that was Fager. Taft Law, I think, gave Hogsett $100,000, but they were also the people leading the charge on the investigation of Thomas Cook. Very funny, right? That's what I thought. It's hilarious. And Chambers launched his first campaign ad. So the people that were helping him were Kyle Humpher, Matt Huckabee, Marty Ops, Luke Thomas, and Jennifer Hollowell. And if you guys remember, Jennifer Hollowell was also the people or the woman who gave Natalie Goodwin money. It was like $100, but anytime someone like that gives you money, that means they are on your side. So whenever Natalie Goodwin was talking about like, oh, the party wasn't helping me at all, really? Because you had Suzanne Brooks giving you money. You had a former congresswoman who's now dead gave you money. You had all these people giving you money. You raised over $120,000, and you're gonna say even the party gave you like $20,000 or $30,000. The state party gave you money. You're gonna say, oh, but I didn't get any help from them. Oh darn, poor me. I'm gonna go do some more crocodile tears about some bathtub story. Awesome. As you can tell, I'm still kind of pissed off. I'm still annoyed. All right. It's just so annoying when like Rob Kendall and Abu never want to talk about like how many appointed people were at organization day. That shit is going to sit with me for a long time. All right. So the other person, Monica Kozlowski. Monica Kozlowski is the current regional director for Todd Young. Oh my God. Didn't somebody else work for Todd Young? Oh, that's right. Natalie Goodwin. Oh boy, the connections are really there, right? Also, the regional director for Dan Coates, not the body man like old Nikki Goodwin was. And you know what the best part of me talking shit about everybody? I don't have to worry about any of this because I'm never going to any more township meetings. I do not care. Let them all burn. I think I only went to 2 of them anyways, like Wayne and the other one, but I'm not going to any of them anymore. I'm totally done with the party. I'm on my own. I'm independent. But not really. You'll see what I'm up to pretty soon. Not pretty soon, but you'll see what I'm up to. Okay, so also Monica Kozlowski is part of the National Federation of Republican Women. Very interesting. She's the director of Region 7. So all these things are really starting to tie together. But this is my theory, by the way. I think that Monica Kozlowski is the person that's really controlling Natalie Goodwin. I'm sure that they're probably going to be scheming together on getting some of this goon fuel, this boomer goon fuel for fundraising, for these galas, any way to raise money. I'm sure that's what she's going to be doing because since she works for Todd Young, she also got the Sagamore of the Wabash, which I have no idea what this participation trophy is all about. I know someone told me on Saturday what it was, but I wasn't. Also, I keep forgetting like how tall Holcomb is. He's like 6'5" or something. He's a big son bitch. But the whole goal of all these people in these leadership positions, whether it's Kozlowski, whether it's Natalie Goodwin and Todd Young, or even Kyle Walker. Oh shit! Really? I didn't know Harwell is married to Kyle Walker. This is news. Breaking news. Listen, breaking news on the Whitty Review Show. This is blowing my mind. Hollowell is married to Kyle Walker. This is making so much more sense now. Why didn't anybody tell me about this? I'm so disappointed. I'm so disappointed. Why am I not surprised? What's producer 2 telling me? All right. So anyway, also there's a picture with Kozlowski with Todd Young talking to Vincent Wong and the team of the Indiana Bio Crossroads. All right. So who's our number 2 demon for the Indy GOP? Well, that would be Becky Bechtel. Now, Becky Bechtel she's a real treat. She was township coordinator for the Shreve. She was part of the Conservative Energy Network for the Land of Liberty, Grassroots for Organization and Business Development for Hathaway Strategies. Our former state chair, Anne Hathaway, who you remember, she just kept talking about Milwaukee and how was it Milwaukee? Or wherever the RNC convention was being held at. It was Milwaukee, right? Also, director of Central Indiana operations for Hathaway Strategies again. Who would have guessed? I think that was it, though, right? Yeah. So anyway, but why is this important? Well, because I just saw this. Oh, so this is what my worry is. I got 10 minutes left. It'll be 8:52. All right, because I want to talk about our final boss too. She went to the Jim Banks campaign thing a few weeks ago, and now she's trying to infiltrate the Banks campaign, the Banks team, with her venomous claws and try and be like a cancer and take everything away. Because we know that she's actually part of the Todd Young team, and she's trying to stir bullshit. Anne Hathaway, obviously. I think Banks knows, though. I think Banks knows, like, Bechtel is toxic. He knows that Anne Hathaway is toxic. But also, where is this? It's time for change in her city. That wasn't the one I wanted. She also talks about crap. Do I not have it? Oh no. She's also friends with Abu. No, I know. I thought I have it. Oh, man. Okay, but she's also friends with Abu, but she deleted it. I have it on my Saturday show, but she talks about how she was helping Abu, and according to the campaign reports too, that she donated to Abu as well. But she talks about how he's this brave and sweet little guy. Oh man, I thought I had it. I messed up, boys. I messed up. I didn't save it, did I? Oh man, I didn't save it. That's a shame. That's a shame. But yeah, she's also deep friends with Abu. Talks to him, this brave soul. So that's automatically makes me an enemy of hers. I am an enemy to her. All right. So who is the final boss of all this? Well, that would be. Oh, there she is with Joe Elsner and Monica Kozlowski too, obviously. But who is the final boss of all of this stuff? Well, that would be Cindy Mowry, the treasurer for Brian Mowry and Paul Nate, and I think Mike Dilk. But Cindy Mowry is also good friends with Abu. Here we go, Abu right here. If you remember me posting this, my favorite township chair, which is very funny actually, because Cindy Mowry was she was found that she misappropriated funds so she could have her work performed on her home. Let's see. The report published alleges Mallory misappropriated funding using taxpayer dollars. Designated Fair Association used to have work performed on her home. And so if you read this whole article, it basically says that she needs to pay. The SBOA asked Mallory to pay the $7,600 to cover the costs it incurred while auditing her activity. So it sounds like to me that Cindy Mallory stole money from the taxpayers so she could have work done into her home. But according to Abu, that's her favorite township chair. That's his. No, actually, no, I'm going to say that right. It is her favorite township chair. Which then Drew, our pal Drew, posted this picture, which I thought was very funny. That's Thomas Cook, by the way, the alleged sexual assaulter. And I didn't post that. You can see it that Drew. I'm just posting things that people post. That's all I'm doing. Okay. So where do we go from here? Where do we know? Scott is obviously a guy. This still blows my mind that Kyle Walker is married to Hollowell. It's melting in my mind right now. But what are you gonna do? It makes perfect sense now. Like everything is just a giant hug box. It's just handshakes and hand jobs. It's spitting on it and expecting something. It's so annoying. But we can't do anything about it. That's the problem. Like the grassroots people, the best thing you can do about it is which I'm going to talk about next Tuesday. So next Tuesday, I'll talk about some of the things of what we can do, what I'm doing, and then the following Tuesday I will not have a show because I'm trying to do 4 on and 1 off so I can get some good content. Because then when I come back, we're going to talk about weed. That's my goal, or bills, or more bills, or maybe both. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. So what do we do? What do we know from here? Okay, Matt Huckabee, Joe Elsner is the godfather of his kid. Monica Kozlowski, township chair for Pike, also works for the Todd Young. Cindy Mallory, alleged thief, but good friends with Abu. Dave Taylor obviously endorsed Shreve. He's now the vice chair. Scott Zersey, glorified bootlicker. And Julie McGuire. This is actually the reason why I brought up the whole Julie McGuire thing too, was because of Jake Teshka. Is that he was endorsing Julie McGuire. Said it's like, and our Lieutenant Governor, Julie McGuire, stop him by St. Joe County. And even Kendall is kind of mogging him a little bit, which is awesome. And Kyle Walker, which we know is married to Hollowell, and also the 7th District Chair, along with, and Natalie's the Vice, which is, I don't know. Like, you could tell morons are in control. And they're just going to ruin it in Marion County. You think Marion County is bad now? It's going to get worse. I mean, there's nothing good in sight at all. I thought it was bad before, but now you have morons that are running the county party. Then you have Democrats that want to rape your children, show them porn, and cut them up. And their county chair is totally establishment, like old school establishment too. Like first they'll kill you, then they'll go to town on you. And then the only shining thing that we could even do is the Libertarian Party is basically dead in Marion County. So what you could do is go over there next Wednesday on the 19th, which I'll talk about some more on Tuesday, and then help it out. I'm just throwing that out there. You want to hang out, you want to actually have a plan, you want to have something for the grassroots. That's the grassroots. The Marion County Republican Party is dead. You need a new grassroots initiative, but going off, being like a, was it like Quado from Total Recall? Like if the guy was the Marion County GOP, I think Quado, that would be like the side piece of the Marion County GOP. You don't want to be Quado, okay? You want to be Quaid. Quaid right now is the Libertarian Party. And the mutants are the Democrat Party of Marion County. Oh yeah, you know what's really funny? I saw that thing with Abu, and I'm convinced that Bob Kern could beat the shit out of Abu. I would put money on it. By the way, honestly, I would put money on it. I'm convinced Kern could beat the shit out of Abu. All right, so get ready. We're getting ready to end. So that's what I have for this week. Hopefully, you had a good time. I'm really interested to see what these bills are going to happen. Yeah, open your mind is right. Yeah. Quaid, open your mind. And I'm not talking about that shitty, what was that, Colin Farrell? That one with the chick from the vampire chick. What is her name? The one that was banging Pete David and married that werewolf. Natalie something? I don't know. Doesn't matter. So anyway, next week I'm going to talk some more about bills and then what I'm going to be doing from here on out with the party. And it's going to be so much fun. So until next time.